Welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. If you're watching the video, of course, we are back in the car again this week. But hey, listen, I said, you know what? If I'm going to be in the car, if I'm going to record in the car, I'm going to sit down and make sure. Oh, I forgot to start the timer on the phone. Oh, Jesus, crap in a bucket. This is embarrassing. Okay. I said, why not have good sound? So I decided, it's like I'm going to a coffee shop today. I'm bringing my laptop. Might as well bring the microphone with me. And here I am. I don't have a case for this $200 microphone, so I just threw it right in my bag. Hopefully it'll be safe. We are sitting on a street right across the street from the coffee shop that I was going to go to near Krog Street Market. I'll give you that much information. I don't want to tell you where I am. If you know the city, you'll definitely know where I am right now if you see this big old cylinder behind me. Let's go ahead and get started because there's a whole lot of stuff I want to talk about. That's why, it's weird. I had to load all my pages before I left. And these iPhone headphones are not good. But you know what? They do the job. They get the job done. I just washed my hair, so I want to bring over-the-ear headphones. All right, so CBS Films is a big... Oh, hold on, before I start. Let's see, what have I watched this week? The Fyre Festival documentary for Hulu. That one's really good. I don't know what that one's called, but look up Fyre Festival documentary on Hulu. And then there's also one on Netflix. We'll get to this in a little second. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that now. Let's talk about that right now. So, Fyre and Fyre Fraud were both being released this week. We only knew about the Netflix one ahead of time because Netflix announces things ahead of time, but Hulu, they and I think that both of these are acquisitions, so it really doesn't matter. But Hulu stealth released, I guess that's what we'll call it, a documentary of their own about 3 days ago. At this point that I'm recording this, there's a guy and his dog walking by. I hope you can hear every word I'm saying. I do have the windows down, of course. I don't. It sounds so weird in these headphones. I hope it sounds good on the recording. So the one we knew was coming is Chris Smith's Fyre, and that's distributed by Netflix. And that one is a very important distinction between the two of them. I'll talk about Hulu's first. Hulu's Fyre Fraud comes from Julia Willoughby Nason and Jenner. Okay. Jenner First, they made this movie, they made this documentary. It's very interesting. The entire story of the Fyre Festival is very interesting. If you don't know, Fyre Festival last year, 2 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. The internet moves the life moves so fast. The life moves so fast. That's the title of this episode. But in May or April of 2017, there was a festival being thrown that just it was basically for rich people, and it was like you pay $50,000 for like 2 tickets, and I'm doing this right now. Okay. And you pay $50,000 for a couple of tickets, and for 2 tickets, actually. I think it was very expensive. Like they made, and you're supposed to be headed to this island on a plane, on a chartered plane, and with all these other influencers and basically rich white people, which 90% rich white people. There's a couple of colors in there, but other than that, rich white people. There's a lot of activity on the street, a lot of activity near Krog Street Market. That's why I can't live over here. Nice houses though. So there was going to be all these rich white kids going to this island and basically enjoying a music festival that was supposed to have the likes of Blink-182 and all these other bands who I can't remember, but I remember Blink-182 for a specific reason. Then come to find out, they arrive. The $50,000, sometimes $100,000 they paid for tickets because the tickets were inflated prices. It was super inflated because the owner was like, "Oh, we need to make more money. They're running out of money, so let's raise the prices on these tickets and just say, hey, we're out of the general admission $12,000 tickets. You can only buy the $50,000 tickets now or the $100,000 tickets." Crazy, insane. And basically what so they got to the island. They were tents. They didn't have like the places they were supposed to be staying in, like the condos and houses and stuff. And the food was like bread with nasty cheese on it, like was sprinkled with barbecue sauce. It was just so sad and disgusting. And yeah, they were driven in on buses when they got off their chartered planes. Insane. It's crazy. And it's really, honestly, I hate saying that, honestly. It's a really interesting story. I urge you to check it out. I'm going to watch the Netflix one at some point later today. But when that Hulu one dropped, it was insane because everyone knew this Netflix one was coming. Now, the Netflix one, created by started by Christopher First, I guess, acquired by Netflix. That one is produced by a production company that helped throw the Fyre Festival called F. Jerry and Jerry Media, which is, and the Hulu documentary calls that one out. Again, these are just acquisitions. They're not really, people trying to, why do you have a Wookiee or a rookie driver? Like, I'm a rookie driver and on your car. Who cares? Just drive. Anyway. So it's a really, really great story. But anyway, the Netflix one is also produced by Vice. So that's kind of where they get their, I like Vice documentaries. I don't like the Vice TV shows. But I urge you to check it out. There's a review I read right before I saw the Hulu movie, which I don't do. I don't read reviews anymore. This review is by Keith Uchlick. From The Hollywood Reporter. He reviews both of the documentaries, says they're both good and they're provocative and they're very, like I said, interesting. And you'll learn this Billy Mitchell guy. He is a smooth talker, not even a smooth talker. He's a fast talker, ready to he'll sell you sand in the desert. And then you'll realize that you were cheated and he'll already be gone. Insane. And then he'll lie about selling sand. The Netflix one, he said that the Billy Williamson, Magnumson, whatever, what is his name? Billy Magnumson, McFarland. Billy McFarland. Where's Magnumson coming from? William McFarland. He's already in jail. This sporty frat bro douchey white guy who decided to throw this festival. He's like, hey, we're gonna throw this festival. After he started a company called Magnesis, which was a credit card company for millennials, which basically just they cut your credit card from metal and they took your strip and they just put it on this metal. That's it. That's what he did. He copied it. Very interesting. Check it out. This guy is a real turd. He's in jail right now. I think he's serving like 15 years, something like that. I also just got done watching The Sentence on HBO. It took me a couple of weeks to get through. I watched like 20 minutes at a time. And I was like, no, I'm going to sit down and watch the rest of this. Very good movie. Very good documentary about a woman who was arrested on drug charges from years prior, given 15 years in jail. And then her brother decided to document the whole process and trying to get her out and all these appeals. Over the course of the entire movie, her husband's like, I can't do this anymore, so I'm going to leave you. I'll take care of our daughters while you're in jail, but I can't do this anymore. The daughters grew up without a mother. The family grew up without a sister and daughter, and it's insane. It's crazy. Eventually, she gets pardoned. This is a huge story, and it's a documentary, so if you don't know, this is your fault. But it's called The Sentence, again, on HBO. She gets out of jail about 6 years ahead of time. She gets out because Obama pardons her. And I think she's like one of 36,000 or 14,000 that were pardoned, something like that. I think like 36 appealed, and I think the 14 got out. So 14,000 got out. And the reunion with her family, heartbreaking. Oh my God. I couldn't handle it. I was all over the place crying and stuff like that. But definitely check out the Fyre Festival documentaries on Hulu and Netflix, and check out The Sentence on HBO. This is a week of docs for me. All right, moving on to the first story I was supposed to do. CBS Films is being folded into CBS Entertainment Group, shifting to streaming. This is from Brent Lang over at The Variety. CBS Films, of course, was a division of CBS that would distribute films, obviously. They've done, let's see. The next movies they have coming out are 5 Feet Apart, Lexi, Pavarotti, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Those are really good titles. You always see titles with like the or or somebody's name. These are really good titles. So these are the last films to be distributed by CBS Films. They're going to be going towards streaming because I guess streaming is a little bit more pliable for them. Is that the word I'm looking for? Pliable? I have to do so much in such a tiny space. I'm like checking the waveforms. I got to read these stories that if I accidentally press reload on, then it won't load up again. This is a statement from CBS Corporation. As part of our ongoing optimization of CBS operations, CBS Films will be folded into larger CBS Entertainment Group over the course of 2019. This will allow the company to further focus its entertainment resources on its television, digital, and streaming businesses. We are grateful for the continued leadership of Terry Press and the passionate efforts of everyone at CBS Films. CBS Films, those movies that I mentioned and all the other movies they've done, which I would look up, but I can't. Oh, they did Hell or High Water. Winchester. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. But those movies are, while like Hell or High Water was Oscar bait, it is a mid-budget movie. It's not a low-budget indie, and it's not a high-budget superhero blockbuster. So they're as we've learned, as we've come to realize over the past 10 years now, there's no middle ground for movies. No one can continue making middle-budget movies and get away with it too. They see these kids and their meddling dog. No one can get away with it. That's why movies like Blockers and Game Night and all the other comedies that come out that aren't indie movies, because there's never been a blockbuster comedy, I don't think. I mean, maybe Austin Powers, but I don't even know about that. But a blockbuster would have to be like, what, over 100 million? It had to be made for over 100 million, something like that. I don't know what a blockbuster would constitute. Is Mortal Engines a blockbuster? Even though that failed commercially this winter at the box office. This winter at the box office. I don't know. I think it's a blockbuster. It's got Peter Jackson's name on it. It's this huge spectacle. It was made for 9 figures. I don't know. I've never talked like a rapper. But these mid-budget movies, they just can't survive. And no one can keep making these movies and expect to see improvements on the dividends. I don't know if that's right. But that's why CBS Films is going to start focusing on streaming. That's why their CBS is like, hey, streaming's better. We can make as many with $100 million, we can make 10 TV shows. 10 million TV shows. $10 million is a lot for a TV show. Is it? Yeah, it is. That's like a Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is like, I think the season before was 20 to 30 million, something like that. I might be wrong. Speaking of other things in the streaming space, NBCUniversal is planning a streaming subscription service. May take back the offers from Netflix. I mentioned this last week at some point. Netflix was gonna, they said, listen, we can't not have Friends. NBC, we will pay you $100 million for Friends. I'm sure there was like a discussion, and NBC said, hey, we can get some money on Netflix. I mean, I know they're broke, but let's see if we can get some money on Netflix. And that's what they did. They got $100 million for 1 year of Friends, which is an insane deal. And I also mentioned this, that the shows that are on Netflix that are most watched, the top 20 shows, are not owned by Netflix, which is a problem for Netflix. Not a problem for anybody else. The Office is the most watched show on there. So NBC is seeing these numbers and saying, hey, maybe we can start our own streaming service. I'll get to that in a second. Maybe we can start our own streaming service and put our stuff up there, and people will pay us money to watch that stuff. CBS is doing it, and they're killing it. I think they have like 2 million subscribers. I think Showtime Anytime also has like 500,000. Showtime Now, or Showtime, is it just Showtime? HBO Now and HBO Go. Go is the cable, Now is the streaming. Showtime Anytime is the cable. Showtime is the streaming. Who needs to know these things? Maybe I would have done well in school if I was this diligent when it came to this stuff. So basically, NBCUniversal is saying we can launch our own streaming service, and they're possibly going to take away The Office from Netflix after 2021, which is when their contract is up for that show. And again, NBC Universal did air Friends. NBC aired Friends. Disney and Warner Brothers are both coming out with their own streaming services. Disney already has ESPN Plus, which has done wonders for them. $5 a month, you can watch all of the ESPN you want to watch. Streaming, and they have original shows and movies and documentaries. Warner Brothers, on the other hand, already has a streaming service called DC Universe, I think. Again, I don't know. DC Universe, something like that. And you can read comics, watch old shows like the Justice League show that was on Cartoon Network. I assume Smallville, but that's on Hulu. And also, I don't think they own that. And Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series, see a high-def version of that. And new shows. Oh, Young Justice, the new season of Young Justice, new shows like Teen Titan, the Titan Show, Swamp Thing, and Doom Patrol, which are coming out later this year at some point. And that's all you get. I think that's like $8. And I say that knowing that all this builds up, which we'll get to in a second. We have a different story for that one. But very important. NBC Universal has already tried streaming. They tried CISO, which was their comedy streaming app, which I've talked about at length on both this show and the other show, News Time, which is the weekly news show. What is that show? It's a weekly news show that I do every single week. It's a great show. This lady looking in the car. You looking at that lady? It's just a guy recording a podcast. Yeah. Stop looking at my car. All right, lady. You keep walking, you old bat. Should come up and, those are nice socks. That match your jacket. All right, you can go. You can live. You can live. I'll let you live. If any law enforcement are watching this, I was just kidding around as a joke, doing a little bit. Very sorry if she does end up getting snatched, taken, or anything. So, CISO did fail after a year and some change, and I'm not gonna regurgitate that entire story because it will just make me angry. Because they had a bunch of wonderful original shows on there, and they canceled them. How dare you, CISO? I mean NBC. How dare you? And I think it was like $4 a month, and you got to watch all the SNL, every single episode of SNL. A lot of them were edited down without the music and stuff, but it was still great. All these new shows that weren't able to find homes or were canceled after the fact. I think only one is still going. I think that might be Harmon Quest, if that. Deadline has word on the NBC Universal. This is from Slash Film. I should have said this before. Ethan Anderton wrote this. NBC Universal planning a streaming service may take back The Office for Netflix. Deadline has word on the NBC Universal streaming service in development as the company makes some key moves in reorganizing the executive team to launch an ad-supported direct-to-consumer service in 2020. The NBC Universal streaming service doesn't have a name yet, but it will launch with about 15,000 hours of programming derived from the wide array of broadcast, cable, film, news, and sports. NBC Universal is confident in creating a new streaming subscription service simply because of the foundation of users who will have access to streaming right from the service right from the get-go. That's because the NBC Universal streaming service will be available to users who already pay for Comcast and Sky cable services across the United States and Europe. But what if you don't have a cable subscription? They're thinking they're going to have two versions. This is what NBC is thinking right now. NBC Universal. One that costs $5 a month, much like CBS All Access. I think that's like $4 a month, and then that's ad supported. And then I think it's $8. It's something cheap. It's very cheap. It's like it's sub $8. It's between $8 and $5, $5 and $8. And then below that, you got an ad supported version, which will be about $12 to $14. Steve Burke, CEO of NBC Universal, said it's a safe assumption that the company will be looking to get The Office back from Netflix, which has a deal to stay there till 2021. Now, this makes me question what's going to happen with Hulu, because NBC still owns a 30% chunk of Hulu. Or I think Comcast does. Oh, no, see, NBC Universal. NBC Universal owns 30% of Hulu. Yeah. Which is where their shows are. It doesn't make sense to me. And now, so what? They're going to take Disney owns 60% of Hulu now. And if Hulu is for adults, essentially, because there's no children's shows on Hulu, if Hulu is for adults, and then Disney Plus is, I read this and I think it was this article, and Disney Plus is for kids or for families, what's going to happen with, this guy has a lot of tattoos. What's going to happen when it comes to Hulu? I just finished watching Superstore. You know, I like watching the show Manifest, even though it's trash. I don't know. It's just crazy. This is crazy to me. Speaking of streaming, so we have these new things coming up. I promise you I'll go to a break in a second. We have these things coming up. Netflix just raised its prices. You know what? You know what? Let's save that for the second part. Nah, screw it. Doesn't matter. Nah, let's save it for the second part. No, let's do it. Let's just go through it. There's no break on this episode. See how we're playing these out? It's very hot in this car right now. I can hear everything going on in this car. It's crazy. This is from Vanity Fair, written by Joy Press. It's a great name. She should have gone into television news. Joy Press. Hi, I'm Joy Press, and I'm reporting, and that's just the way the news crumbles. This article is the ever-increasing cost of streaming. Netflix raises prices this week, as you may have heard. You know, they do this every 2 years. Streaming with them, I think it used to be $8, and then it turned to $10, and then it turned to $12, and now it's going to go to $14, I believe. Which is, I mean, fine. You know, if Netflix wants to be taken seriously, when HBO came out, HBO Now came out straight out of the gate, it was $15 streaming, which is the same amount of money if you want to get it on Charter Spectrum or Comcast or Hulu with live TV or Amazon Prime channels. It's the same amount of money across the way. If Netflix wants to be taken seriously, and if they want to get out of debt, first thing, because I think they're $8 billion in debt. I think it's $4 to $12 billion in debt, but I think it's $8 billion in debt. But if they want to get out of debt, and if they want to continue making these shows, remember that year Netflix said they're going to make 500 hours of content of shows and movies. I think that was like 2 years ago, and now we're well beyond that. And I remember I think that same year they said they were going to do a different comedy special every week. Every Tuesday was a different comedy special. And for some reason, I'm still trained to look on Tuesdays and go, oh, who's got a new comedy special? Even though I don't watch comedy specials. Speaking of which, we're going to type one up in a second. Type up an interview for one. Ms. Press, in this article, in this essay, I believe, it's an essay. Really, she asked you the question. Here's her thesis. So how much are you willing to pay to watch your favorite shows? If you subscribe to more than one service, and that's the start of her next sentence, but this is the start of my thought. A lot of people, like me, subscribe to more than one service. I subscribe to Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, the big three. That's it. I'm not doing any more. All right? Not doing DC on Universe Online. That's a video game. I'm not doing Disney Plus. Not doing any more. That's it. I got 3. I'm done. So now, we have all these options, and it's really posing a risk to people who quote unquote cut the cord because they want to pay cable this much. But if you think about it, I was looking at Hulu with live TV, which I get periodically to watch live events or to watch stuff, you know, just stuff. I want to watch stuff, and I get that periodically. It's $40 a month, or 43. 8 plus 3, 44. Or 44 if you want the option with no commercials. So imagine you start out with the option with no commercials, 44. And then you do, you say, okay, well, I want to get HBO and I want to get Showtime. That's 15 plus 11. That's another $26. So now you're at $70. You're at $70. Then the DVR only gives you 50 hours, I think. So then you pay another 15. So that's $85. You pay another 15 for 200 hours DVR. And then you have you share this account with your kids, and you have 3 kids and they're always gone from the house and they always want to watch on their phones. So then you pay another $15. That's $100. Did I do that right? $100. And now they can watch. Now you can watch it on 3 mobile devices at once, including at your house too. So that's an insane amount of money. And then that's that. And then you got to pay for Netflix, and then you got to pay for Amazon. And again, your 3 kids. So you got to pay for, and they all have 4K devices. I don't know. And then, so it's a lot. It's really just adding up. It's insane. It's really crazy. Then there's CBS All Access, which is $6 a month or $9.99 with that commercial. So I was lying. This is insane. It's crazy. They just keep going and going. She says the monthly fees start around $58 to $105, which is compared to a cable subscription average of around $100 a month. And she only included, what is this? Hulu, Amazon, CBS All Access, Netflix, and HBO or Showtime. Just what I did. She just made her own bundle. That doesn't include like Sling, which has 2 different ones, or DirecTV Now, which has options from $40 to $75 a month. And now everybody wants to do this, jump into the streaming party. Again, can you hear what they're saying? Because I can. Again, which would be, NBCUNIVERSAL, $12 a month. Rich Greenfield, a media analyst at BTIG, who coined the Twitter hashtag #GoodLuckBundle to document the demise of the traditional cable bundling of channels, does not see the profusion of new streamers as a burden, but as a boon to consumers who are free to be as fickle as they like. Which is true. I mean, this is really just a win for the person who wants to watch just Game of Thrones, pay for the 2 months from April to May, even early June, and watch Game of Thrones, and then that's it. They're only out you get a free month and then you're $15, or you get a free week and then $15, so you're out $30 just to watch one show. And then you also get access to these movies and shows. So you could just be built and say, hey, I want to wait for True Detective season 3's airing right now. I'll watch that in April when Game of Thrones starts. Crashing's airing now. I want to watch that in April when Game of Thrones starts. So you have all these shows. You have all these options. You're going to get a lot of stuff offered, but you're just not going to get the same thing. The same thing. What am I talking about? Coming up on the last 2 stories, baby. There was another Fyre Festival article I had up, but it doesn't matter. It's from The Ringer. I'll put it in the show notes. Netflix had a documentary on Fyre Festival. Now Hulu has a documentary on Fyre Festival. This comes from Miles Surrey. And his sub-lead is the streaming wars has got a little more petty. I don't really think it was, because just last week Netflix told everybody to watch Killing Eve on Hulu via Twitter. I don't think this is like a war thing. I think it's one documentary was produced by the people who made the Fyre Festival, and that's the issue. All right. Ooh, here's boxes of treats. Wonder what I want to get some of those treats. Let's move on to this thing before I get to the last story that just surely pissed me off. This is from Variety. Viacom lays off Paramount Network staffers amid reorganization. This is an exclusive Joe Otterson. So this was the day I had written and shot News Time and uploaded it, which was this past Tuesday. This article was uploaded. So I'll go ahead and describe this week's episode of News Time. So News Time is the weekly show I do. It's like last week tonight. It's entertainment news and it's not funny. It's great. I love it so much. I love doing it so much. Obviously doing it at the last minute these past couple of weeks, but I love doing it so much. This week's episode was looking back on probably the most popular episode of News Time. Sorry, I got to make sure this is still recording. Probably the most watched episode of News Time, which is about the Paramount Network and how Spike TV became the Paramount Network, what Viacom plans on doing with it, and all that stuff. So this was a rehash on that episode rehash, just remembering, like, it's been a year to the day. Essentially, it's been 1 year and a day since Spike became Paramount Network, which is a huge thing. Apparently, it wasn't huge enough because a lot of their shows on Paramount Network were canceled. A lot of the shows didn't do well, like Waco, which is a limited series, didn't do well enough. Yellowstone is one of two that they renewed, that they brought back, because American Woman, Heathers, basically everything was canceled. Basically, there was one show that was moved, First Wives Club, that moved from Paramount over to sister channel BET, probably because it had black people starring in it, which is very true. Michelle Buteau and some other person. That's the only people I remember. But all right, so there we go. And so here we go. Here we are. A source with knowledge of the situation that the number of affected employees was fewer than 20 or less than 2% of the entertainment group's workforce. Again, that's not huge numbers. We've seen bigger layoffs in the entertainment sector before, and channels, networks, and stuff like that. But this is interesting because this is a channel that was started last year, and I hate to use its own name to describe itself, but this was supposed to be Paramount for Viacom. The layoffs come fewer than 3 months after Viacom reorganized its entertainment group. Longtime Viacom executive Kevin Kay, who oversaw Paramount Network, TV Land, and CMT, exited the company after 2 decades in October. The move came as part of a larger restructuring of Viacom's cable brands under the direction of CEO Bob Bakish. Kent Alterman from Comedy Central and Chris McCarthy broadened their portfolios with the reorganization, with Alterman now leading Comedy Central, Paramount TV, and TV Land Group. McCarthy is going to head MTV, VH1, and Logo, also CMT. Both men will continue to report to Bakish. It's a loud truck. I can feel it rumbling the car. My car is very light. So I think Kevin Kay, his leaving the company was very abrupt. Again, like I said, he was with them for 2 decades. I guess he just wasn't getting with the times. But it's very interesting that they're still doing this. Viacom also, I think they had a shift a couple of months ago, something like that, where. Oh, no, this is the same thing last year that they got. There were 2 sections, essentially. MTV, some of the channels were with one part of the company, another channel was part of another part of the company, but they all reported the same person. I don't know. It's very strange. But now here's a new way. Here's a new way of doing it. Who knows what's happening over there at Paramount? They also, TV Land just gave them Younger, which is TV Land's highest rated show. And it's also their last half-hour comedy, the original half-hour comedy. Just gave it to them and said, okay, have it. You guys are doing the half-hour comedies now. Go ahead and watch this episode of News Time. It's good, I promise. It's 5 minutes long. It's very short, but that's all I can do this week. Final story. VICELAND shakes up prime time. Will air 2-hour live variety show 4 nights per week. This is the issue, guys. You know, I have a very big issue with VICELAND, and Vice the company, the douchebags that run it. There's a very interesting article I read on, I think it was the New York Times or the Washington Post, I think it might have been the Atlantic, where they talked about, and I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, where they talked about the bro-y nature of Vice, the Vice company. I don't like their website, but man, the TV show on HBO and the news show, the daily news show on HBO, Vice News Tonight and Vice, the documentary series, both fantastic. VICELAND, trash. They had all this potential. They squandered it. And also made me think, why are they doing a cable channel? Like, we're going to reach out to millennials. Well, they're not watching cable. I'm watching cable, and I am a millennial. I hate that term. This comes from The Wrap. Tony Maglio. VICELAND is shaking up its prime time with Vice Live, a 2-hour variety talk show slated to air 4 nights per week starting next month. Basically, imagine 106 in Park. Imagine TRL. Imagine anything of the same ilk. Comedians Marie Faustin, these are all new faces too. Comedians Marie Faustin, Zach Fox, Sandy Honig, and rapper Fat Tony will share the Vice Live hosting duties. Jeremy Hutchins of 106 & Park, will executive produce the new series, with last week tonight's Joe Perota set to direct. I'm going to go ahead and read the description for the show, and then I'll get you my thoughts on it. The show itself will continually be experimenting and evolving in real time. Any given episode could feature comedy pieces, celebrity visits, short form videos, and field pieces and check-ins from Vice's outposts across the globe. Social media will factor into Vice Live constantly as viewers interact with the show in real time, creating a 360-degree platform agnostic experience that mirrors the fast pace of younger audiences' media appetite. So and it's going to be filmed at the Vice Brooklyn offices in New York. It's going to cover all the day's hottest topics and trends. Capitalizing on Vice's deep bench of young creators with diverse voices from its offices around the world. All right, that's the end of the article. I want to sit down and talk to you about this. Vice is very interesting. Like I said, it was a boys' club, and they're always doing things that are outside of the box. AirPods are weird, right? I'm sorry. Let me take a little pause. This lady just drove by and she has her AirPods in. Should we not be wearing, like, if you have a nice car like that Mercedes, I guarantee it has Bluetooth. Don't you just want to put your phone and hook up to a Bluetooth? Wouldn't that be a little bit safer? You don't need AirPods. I understand they're loose and they're not exactly sound dampening, but just take out the AirPods. You look like an idiot. Okay. This is weird. Vice, like I said, always thinking outside the box. That guy had AirPods too. Always thinking outside the box. Beautiful Audi just drove by. I'll stop. And one of the biggest things about them is that they're able to do so. But now they're going the same route as MTV. This is like a last gas for VICELAND, essentially, because I don't know, like 40% of their shows have been canceled or on hiatus. A lot of their shows are done, and now all they do is air reruns and these and uppity movies directed by Gus Van Sant or Paul Thomas Anderson. Just it's such a hipster platform. I think, but one of my issues with this show is they don't really need this. They had this with Jesus and Miro, but now they're just trying to capture it with, I guess, more diverse voices. If they didn't work Jesus and Miro like horses, then they would have been able to have something more like this. It's very weird to me. But they don't need something like this, because this is very anti-them. And they were started out as, and I think the article was a New York Times article now I think about it, but I think it was like a profile piece on Vice or something like that. But they've always had this attitude of, we're going to go against the grain and there's nothing you can do to stop us. Which is, if you read the article I'm talking about, which is on one of the many platforms, many websites, then you can see that Shane, the guy who started it, basically lied to everybody, to investors and stuff, and said and lied about what the company was, and that's what made it worth what it's worth. It's lost its valuation, but you get what I mean. But yeah, I don't know. The show does not need to exist, and like I said, I feel like it's the last gas for them. So good luck to that. Good luck to you, my kind sirs. My kind sirs and madams and in-betweens. Good luck. Seriously, honestly, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen to VICELAND. That used to be H2, History Channel 2. All right, listen, it's been 40 minutes, and I'm going to hang up. If you like what you heard here, and I don't know why you wouldn't, why don't you head on over to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see there's a bus limo. No, it's not that, not the website. Where you can see a video version of this show, as well as interviews. And that's it. There's nothing else on that website. Interviews, this show, news time. Head on over to youtube.com/C plus comedy to see these things. I got other podcasts too. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram @C plus comedy. Follow us on Twitter @C plus comedy. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @ChadBlackWhite. I'm on all the platforms. I'm only on 2 platforms. No, 3. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you for listening. I very much appreciate it. You're the best. I love you. Bye. Oh, hold on. Read the interview with Steve Trevorino. That was coming up today. Thank you. Bye.